Morning, good afternoon, good evening. You know, it is morning, afternoon, evening. Welcome to LOCPOD, Belgium's top-rated podcast. Because, you know, we just assume because we're in the studio in the morning that everybody's listening in the morning.
Well, in Belgium, it's mid-afternoon.
That's right.
So of course they're listening.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Season 7.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Episode 5.
Yeah. Season 7, episode 5. Welcome to LOCPOD, Belgium's top-rated podcast.
Labor Day weekend.
Got a full complement. Joe Gajewski came just strolling
Barely
in.
made it.
What's up?
Strolling?
Strolling. You were
I
strolling.
running.
ran up the stairs.
So hold it. Didn't
I'm
you
winded.
I think, well, Joe was a little late today, and I
Mm-hmm.
think it has to do with activities last night.
I know where you're going with this.
I heard rumor.
Oh, yeah.
Me
too.
I did too. Independently, by the way.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting, John?
It's in the notes. That's how much.
No, it is. But I
Oh,
actually
I don't
heard
get
it.
those.
I heard it independently.
Yeah, really? Next season. Season 8. Yeah. These are top
By
secret.
season 11, we'll have this all smoothed
okay.
out.
Yeah, so I hear that you were getting a little drunk last night at the White Sox
Whoop,
game.
whoop, whoop. It was a day game.
I have the burn to prove it because
Yeah.
I'm so white.
Yeah.
I saw Papa Talon. He was winded when I saw him.
It was so hot.
He said
Yeah.
it was so hot.
Did they win?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, they did.
So,
They're
So
just
hot.
honest. I mean, I'm not a hater, okay? But they're just not that good. I mean, I'm not
You're
I'm
not
not
playing
saying that
well.
because the Cubs suck.
Underperformed this year.
Yeah, dude. They were supposed to-
Underperformed this year.
Honestly, every White Sox fan I know heading into this baseball season said the White Sox were going to win the World Series.
On
or go to the
paper?
World Series.
Wow.
Yeah, they
on
look good
paper, they looked
paper.
really good.
Yeah, but they just
Underperformed.
They're barely 500, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been just floating right around 500. But the interesting
That ain't
thing is
gonna
they're
get it
still
done.
in it. They're only
No,
4
I
games
know,
back.
man, but because they expanded the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, the White Sox are in the wild card, right? Actually,
no, they're 6 games
closer.
back.
That's right.
In the wild card,
They're
they're 4
closer
games back
because
in
their
the
division
division.
sucks so bad.
Yeah, and they still can't get on top of it.
Yeah, but yeah.
But anyway, Jill, thanks for the invite. I want to appreciate that for the.
Oh,
wait.
well, thanks for taking me to French Lick and all those other
Oh,
places.
that's
It's a boys' trip,
That's a
Jill.
boys' trip.
Whatever.
It's a boys' trip.
It's fine.
That's right.
Well,
Yeah.
Pretty sexist now.
She
It
chose,
is. It
she
is.
chose-
It's the last sexist thing I have. It used to be a lot more.
just let me have it.
It's like we used to have so many more of
That's
these
right.
now, but that's it. I have to hold tightly. By the way, women do stuff
something
like
sacred.
this. Hoosier Women Forward? Come on.
Yeah.
I'm not invited to Hoosier Women Forward. I'd like to be part of that group.
The
love
luncheon,
it.
maybe.
The luncheon, yeah. You could drop $5,000 for a lunch, right? But I'm not invited into the
It
sisterhood.
doesn't bother you.
I would like to be in that
You're on a
sisterhood.
ticket with all women.
I agree, but
got
I'm,
invited
I
into
am the
that.
outsider. It's the all-female ticket and Tom, you know? So anyway.
Well, anyway, I hope you had a good time yesterday at the
Yeah, it was
hot.
fun.
It's the first
Sox
time.
game.
It's the first time in hundreds of episodes with us you've been late, though. I mean, I don't find it.
Technically, I wasn't though.
She rolled in
She did.
right at.
She did. Who am I to criticize?
Right.
I'm
I
just
was on
used to being the last
I was
person.
on McDermott time.
It was
honestly.
You were
before-
on McDermott time.
I mean, I
totally.
had to get the coffee, so I mean,
Yeah.
I'm already.
I mean,
Dude, that
It
is
ta-
very
doesn't ta-
sexist.
that's
That is
why I
very
said it.
sexist.
That's
By the
why I
way,
said
that is very
stay in the
sexist.
because we're on
Yeah,
topic
right.
here.
Yeah, Jesus,
That's
dude.
why I said it.
Yeah, so you did that on purpose, right?
I did.
Thank you. All right.
And LOCPOD's going to get sued again after this.
By the way-
episode.
throw that disclaimer
Yes.
up.
Jill, this is probably the 1 week you're happy you're not in LOCPOD ownership. We all got sued.
Did we?
LOCPOD
got
owners.
sued.
LOCPOD got sued.
Look at this thing, double-sided.
Bam.
Whoa,
That's like
double-sided?
Double-sided. Look at that. Boom.
Wow.
50-something page complaint.
Makes it. You'd think like, oh, look at all that complaint. It's got to be good.
It's got to be good. The more paper is generally means the better the motion, right?
Sure, always, yeah.
just keep on.
Whoever wrote the most.
Yeah. So
We're going to get into that.
the good news for LOCPOD is we are 1.5 lawyers. 1.25.
We count you.
1.25.
Who's the two? Wait, who's the
I've
point?
seen
I'm
every-
0.25.
Oh, all right.
I've
good.
All right, I'll
seen
give you-
every episode
like,
of
man.
Suits.
Suits?
I've
Okay,
seen every
that
episode.
accounts for
So, I mean,
something.
like Law
Thank
and
you, Joe.
Order.
You're on the team.
I'll throw some stuff in.
Yeah, John, you're special media for the team
Oh, nice.
because we're gonna have to communicate our positions.
For the
often.
record, I am not an owner though.
I know. Lindsay,
See if you can get
Lindsay's
sued
like,
on your own.
I got sued.
probably
I'm like,
do that.
yeah, you got sued, Lindsay. You got sued. Damn right. Ownership has its disadvantages too.
What were the advantages? I'm trying
There's
to-
not many. It's not many. Yeah, this is the advantage is I get to pay $2,000 a year in taxes. That's
There
my
you go.
advantage of ownership.
Yeah, well,
But when we sell the podcast
for millions.
for millions, then we'll be like, hell yeah. But
The-
in the
the first
meantime,
question will be: do you have any litigation pending?
yes, we do. Funny enough, hopefully it's not pending long. Yeah. So Speros Batistatos sued LOCPOD amongst
Other
many
people,
other-
like many other members of the South Shore Convention and Visitors Bureau board, sued them.
Wow.
Sued the board, sued the city, sued you, sued me. Yeah.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah.
Kevin's
I
like,
don't
what
know.
the hell?
I was like, I don't know if I like that, but
Can
Yeah.
you just
Welcome to your
list
world.
however many? Like, is there a limit to people you can sue?
Sue
at one
everybody.
time?
You can sue everybody, yeah.
Oh, okay.
apparently it's what.
Hey, for the record, internet just crashed here, but we're gonna try and get it back up, and we're gonna keep recording this podcast.
Outstanding.
Yeah,
Well,
Keep rolling.
All right. That sucks. So it's not live?
we're working on it.
Working on it. All right, we'll keep
The
rolling.
internet just
Okay. So, like, LOCPOD gets sued, so our live audience is out. So we're going to, in the meantime, we're just going to keep rolling like the professionals we are.
yeah.
That's
I'm gonna
right.
try and
Is
refresh
that
the
wait?
stream.
Is that a coincidence that the
No,
Probably not.
maybe.
This stuff was happening. You remember when I ran for Congress? And
Yes.
every time I went on WJOB, the show would crash.
Do you remember that?
Every time. And it was like, it's interesting because there's no other show that crashes except for mine.
Does Speros control the internet?
I don't think it was Speros.
All right.
Yeah.
I think it was Speros.
We'll
Yeah.
find out.
Well, Mayor, I want
try
to
this.
For the
talk about-
record, Speros, I don't think that was you. Okay, so don't sue me over that, please.
Speaking of which, well, you want to talk a
Speros
little bit
is
about
lawyers.
this whole thing,
What?
about this lawsuit?
Are we
Already?
going to go into ads first, or
We can go into ads, sure. Let's
Yeah,
do,
and then we'll come
let's
back
do some
and we'll
ads
talk
and
about-
come back and
we'll get into the lawsuit? I think it's going to be quite entertaining. We had a episode, season 4, episode 24, for all the lawyers that are researching this case. It was a really good depth prep because we anticipated this day, so I had deposition preparation. Kevin was asking me questions, and we discovered I was woefully unprepared for this lawsuit, if I remember correctly. So, so season 4,
I think you
episode
did just
24.
fine.
Attorney
Be sure to check
Jensen and
that out.
everybody else that's listening, that was depth prep. We were getting ready for this day that eventually came.
All right. Power in America. The Lake County Electricians Training Center is seeking applications for the Electrical Apprenticeship Program. If you're a person who enjoys working with your hands in a challenging and ever-changing environment, the Electrical Apprenticeship might be for you. This apprenticeship opportunity provides tuition-free education along with paid on-the-job training. Successful applicants will be looking to make a long-term commitment to their new careers. To learn more about the apprenticeship programs, please visit apply697.com.
Misprint Printing. Misprint specializes in delivering the highest quality signs and printing on time and under budget. Misprint's experience and technology allows them to offer custom commercial on-demand printing and sign solutions. Rick Baltensberger and his team have served the Chicagoland and Northwest Indiana markets for over 30 years. They have 2 convenient locations to serve you in Munster and in Hammond. And Rick, I was thinking that something went wrong with the metal business card that Rick made for me, and then I found out it was my team that screwed up my metal
Yes,
business
they
card.
changed the internet web address, I
Yeah,
think. And
like
so
there's no repercussions to this. I'm out there in
Oh.
public, like flashing my business card, and it's getting air
your
signals.
favorite business card.
And I'm like, naturally, MF and Rick Baltensberger. I'm like, what the hell happened to my
One of
metal
our
business
sponsors.
card? Right? And I'm like, what the hell, Rick? My metal business card gives me air screens. And little do I realize it's not Rick Baltensberger, nor is it Misprint's fault. It was my team's fault.
Campaign issue.
Campaign screwed me.
We
My metal
forgot-
business
we forgot
card.
a little bit about that.
That seems counterproductive to send people to the wrong website.
Well, I
It,
think
it just
no,
gives you
it-
the frowny face and an air signal. I'm like, that
does,
happened like
literally.
4 times in a row. I'm like, what the hell happened to my metal
it
business
really gives
card?
the frowny face.
Yeah, it's like, "Wah," and I'm like super impressive usually when I'm doing that. I'm like, hey, just flash your camera
You
on
like
here.
to do that.
And it's
Yeah.
like frowny face. I'm like, what the,
So really, what happened was there's a new website, and it got directed to a new URL. So that's probably why the QR code doesn't work. We'll fix it though.
Yeah.
All right, Jill. All right, is it me or Jill? It's you.
I don't know what's going on. Did we even do Tri Electronics?
We're on
We're
Calumet
at Calumet
Brewing.
Brewing.
I mean, it's not in order. That's what I'm saying. I'm
It's the
confused.
other, probably the wrong one. You probably
Okay.
have yesterday's. I'll read it. We welcome you to try Michelob Ultra, a
happening?
superior light beer brewed for those who understand that it's only worth it if you enjoy it. Containing only 95 calories, 2.6 carbs, and 4.2% ABV, Michelob Ultra is a light lager brewed with the perfect balance of hops and wholesome grains, producing a light citrus aroma and a crisp, refreshing finish. Check out our social media for details on this great family of beers. Enjoy the Ultra lifestyle with beers and cheers responsibly.
You doing byway, Jill?
If I can find it, I sure will.
Outstanding. Do it.
Byway Brewing is a family-friendly microbrewery with a spacious tap room and outside patio. Our brewing company... Oh, Jesus. Today I can't read. That's fine. Our brewing equipment offers a unique backdrop for your private event like weddings, reunions, or corporate parties. We're conveniently located just off of 8094 at the Kennedy Avenue South exit. Come on by and enjoy Byway's award-winning brews and unbeatable menu. For more information, check out bywaybrewing.beer.
We were partying at Byway last night. with the
what a great event.
fundraiser.
What was the spread like? Did you have wine slushies?
No, they were not at the bar, but they were available and they were really good.
I didn't have anything. I had one beer.
I think I had a beer
like
and
3 waters
and a couple of sips of Phil's wine slushy.
I have a new
Was it
thing.
good though?
It was good.
I know I don't eat. I drink if I could, but I don't eat at fundraisers anymore.
I didn't eat until late, and the food was getting a little bit cold, but it was still. That's the
What
thing
was
with
it?
Byway.
It was like
so good. These
meatballs.
it was meatballs, and then they also had 2 different sliders that were
Delicious.
delicious.
Yeah?
Chicken sandwiches.
Wow, man,
Yeah.
I should have ate
Chicken, right, John?
Chicken.
Yeah,
Chicken
really,
breast.
really
yeah.
good. Really, really good.
Internet still down?
Still down.
On we go.
Yeah.
What's up with the internet here?
Don't know. We're finding out.
All right.
We're
So
gonna
anyway-
find out.
Are we?
Mine
Yes.
just says no internet still.
Yes.
There's a
So-
frowny face on
gonna
this
find-
screen.
Yeah,
It's just
I've
like
been,
Tom's
that frowny
car.
face has been following me around. So.
I did drop a post on the Facebook though. Said we're trying to get things back. If not, check out the pod later.
Tune into the stream.
Yeah.
So anyway, LOCPOD got sued by Speros Batistatos, the former CEO of the South Shore Convention and Visitors Bureau, whom clashed with me. I'm blaming him for this problem repeatedly over the years, screwing over my city while I was the mayor of the city. He tried to self-appoint the Hammond Council's appointment 2 times, and on the second time, we finally sued him to stop him and won. By that, we were victorious in that lawsuit. Speros was found to have acted illegally when he tried to circumvent the Hammond Council's choice and put his own choice on his own board of directors. Imagine that. You're picking your own bosses. And obviously, as the city, the city's mayor, I talked to the Hammond Council. We filed a lawsuit to stop that, and it ended up resulting finally in a settlement, right, Kevin?
Yeah, so that lawsuit was about the interpretation of a specific statute that had to do with appointments to the South Shore Convention and Visitors
His
Bureau
boss.
board. Yeah, the board.
He tried to appoint his own boss.
So yeah, there was I'm trying to remember which time it was, but what he did was he said, I have the ability, or his organization said, we have the ability through, I think it was the Lieutenant Governor's appointee, Mr. Wellman, to say, you didn't appoint in time.
Right.
We're gonna be able to appoint
They made
your
a deadline.
person.
If
Right.
you don't respond by my deadline, I'm going to appoint my own person through Bill Wellman, who is Speros' buddy. I'm not going to say best friend, but they were dear friends for decades.
They're very close, right?
So, I don't think Bill Wellman and Speros are going to pick somebody that's going to be looking too close at Speros' compensation package and stuff like that, right?
It was interesting, right? Because it all had to do with does he have the power under that statute to interpret it to say I get to appoint if the appointing authority doesn't appoint,
And he did not.
and eventually there was an agreement reached, stipulation filed that you couldn't do that.
Which means he broke the law.
Well, I mean,
He made up the law.
It's civil suit, right? So it's like
Yeah,
it's
but
a civil suit. So
he made up the law.
He didn't follow the statute correctly.
He didn't
right?
follow the law. Why can't
The
you
law,
say that?
the law is
Is
the
it impossible
statute.
to
No,
say?
no, you're
Yeah.
right. I mean,
Because that's what I say. It's more catchy when you say that.
Yeah.
It is more catchy when
I
you
guess
say
I'm
that.
just-
He made up the law. He said,
I'm-
I have a deadline. I made it up myself. If you don't comply with my deadline, me and Bill Wellman, my longtime, decades-long buddy, are going to pick my own boss.
I mean, that's exactly the way you interpret it and the way we phrased it in the lawsuit. Absolutely. Yeah, he did not. And I'm just, I guess, acting like a lawyer, right? Like, he didn't follow the statute, and we caught him on it.
And so what happens
We called
is
him out on it.
That started a
Brouhaha.
Yeah, I mean, it was a long time fight between the Convention and Visitors Bureau and the City of Hammond, and it resulted in the Convention and Visitors Bureau completely freezing the City of Hammond out from its own taxes. I mean, we generate the most hotel motel taxes in Northwest Indiana because we're the largest city. We're the first city you stay in coming from Chicago. We have 8094 going right through the heart of our city. So naturally, we have lots of hotels that are filled, usually at least at 80% capacity, generating taxes. Our taxes that generated in our city that go to the South Shore Convention and Visitors Bureau, and then Speros as CDO wouldn't give a penny back to the city of Hammond because he didn't like me, and he didn't like the fact that we challenged him when he tried to replace his own bosses.
Yeah, the interesting thing about that is you would think that, and the South Shore Convention and Visitors Bureau did participate in Festival of the Lakes for a couple years.
One
and then
year.
they just
1 year.
Was it 1 year? Yeah.
Oh,
And then
they did surveys 1 year too.
did surveys, yeah, and they participated with a little bit of dough 1 year, I think, and then they just stopped.
You know why?
Well, it was right around the time you guys were fighting, I think.
No. No.
No, what happened?
Kevin, you're asking. I'm going to say it.
All right.
Okay. Speros wanted to go up on stage and talk in the microphone. And he went up.
I forgot about it.
This is a funny
a good
story.
story,
This is a funny story. Jill knows where I'm going with this. So, when you have a festival, imagine there's like a festival in Hobart, right?
Okay.
And there's thousands of people that go to Hobart, and I show up in Hobart, and I'm used to talking on microphones. I'm not nervous at all. Imagine if I just walked up on the stage in Hobart and grabbed the microphone and just started talking to the crowd. Imagine the mayor of Hobart would be going like, what the fuck is McDermott doing up on the stage talking to the crowd? This is my event. So what happens is Speros, because he's the Convention and Visitors Bureau guy, gives us like $10,000 one year. And this is way 15 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what show it was, but we had a humongous crowd gathered. And Speros is like, hey, man.
Like they were the sponsor that night or something.
They were like
right?
the sponsor that night.
Sure.
But that doesn't mean you get to own the stage. That means we give you a bunch of tickets. We treat you like a king. You know, we get you drinks. We do whatever we can.
Come on stage, throw
you're
some
the main
t-shirts
sponsor.
out.
Throw some T-shirts. And then maybe talk to the crowd a little bit. Like, I'll hand you the microphone. You talk, say
That's
thanks.
very rare.
Right.
That's
so,
rare.
So, yeah, maybe once every fest.
Like I'm trying to think like this year, none of the sponsors.
Well, maybe the Times did or something like that.
Okay.
Sometimes they say something. It's like a 10-second message. But nobody walks on the stage and grabs a microphone and starts addressing the crowd on their own, right? So Speros does that. And it's like a Friday night. And I'm freaking. Like, I'm talking to the
This
people
is
in charge of the
years
stage.
and years
This is
and years
15 years
ago.
ago.
Lost
Yeah.
your shit.
I did. I'm like, what the hell is going on up here, guys? Like, people from the audience could just walk on the stage and start talking to the audience, and these guys are like, no, they can't. And I'm like, well, they freaking did. I'm like, do your damn jobs. You guys are in charge of the stage. And then I said to one of my employees, a longtime employee, dear friend of mine, but I was pissed. I said, if that ever happens again, it's your ass, basically. Insinuating that adverse employment situations will happen, right? And I'm just like, you take charge of this goddamn stage. This is not going to happen. This dude, Speros, is not going to walk up on the stage whenever he wants and just start talking to the crowd, right?
Just
I don't even do that.
He
And I'm the
sponsored
mayor.
a night, right?
He gave us $10,000. We probably spent $750,000. He spends $10,000 and thinks he owns the stage, right? So I told Pat, who I love dearly, I said, Pat, don't ever let this happen again. Because if it does, I'm coming after you. And he knew I was not bullshitting, okay? So the next day, all right, we're same type of situation. Speros is there. He thinks he owns the place because he gave $10,000 or something like that. And he walks up on stage the next day and does it again. And he gets up there and he grabs the microphone. He starts addressing the crowd. Hey, everybody from Northwest Indiana. And Pat, like, sees it, walks up on stage in front of the whole crowd, grabs the microphone right out of his hand and says, get the fuck off my stage. Right in front of everybody, dude.
I must not have been. I must not have been
oh,
there
yeah.
that night.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't remember that, but you've said that story many
And
times.
Pat was like, because he knew we had just talked about this, and you can't just like members of the public walk up on stage, and it's not his event. You don't just walk up there, and that's one thing we don't like to do at the fest. We don't like sit there and give long speeches from the crowd. That's just not the way. That's why people like it. I don't do that.
Get
I'm
to the
mayor.
music, right?
Yeah, it's
Give me a
about
t-shirt
music.
and
It's
get
about
to the-
kids throwing T-shirts. It's about having fun. It's not about long speeches by people that are self-centered. So anyway, that started. Well, so obviously there's bad blood between the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and over the years it just never really got better. It resulted in me doing public information requests on his salary and the amount of money he spends, and we found huge amounts of waste. I'm not going to call it fraud, but I think it's fraud personally. But huge amounts of waste, thousands of dollars in dinners at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. When I say thousands, every month he would go and he would take people out and he would spend $4,000 on a meal. And this is taxpayer money. This is money mostly generated in Hammond, Indiana, and he uses it for a lavish lifestyle. Spending an account. He wasn't checked by his board. His salary was outrageous. His salary itself was like $250,000 plus all of his benefits like life insurance and all the perks he gets. He's making $300,000 a year, which is 3 times higher than most mayors in the region. And this guy just walks around like a king, appointing his own board members, just acting like a general dick. And I don't like guys like that. I don't like people like that. And I challenged him every chance I got. And I'm not going to say, the board of directors at the Convention and Visitors Bureau ultimately decided it wasn't worth them to have him anymore, and they let him go.
Yeah, I mean, just reading through the lawsuit, it's interesting, the allegations and kind of the, I don't know, far-fetched kind of, in my opinion, allegations that they allege in there. I guess that's the whole point. Anybody can file a lawsuit, and that's what Speros decided to do, and we're going to wait and see what happens. So congratulations on being sued by John and Lindsay.
I think, honestly, John's mostly responsible, let's be honest, right?
John, what did you do to Speros?
Yeah.
John woke up on Wednesday.
Sued.
As a defendant.
Welcome to the fight with Speros, John.
I remember when Kevin sent the text. I was like, "Ha ha!" I mean, what are you saying?
Yeah.
What are you
You're like,
saying?
you're full.
You're like,
bullshit,
oh,
right?
you didn't. Yeah, John was like, yeah, right.
Yeah, we got sued, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got sued.
By the way, We're back live.
Are we?
Wow. And I think that
John, the
means
good news is I'm representing you. They assigned me to be your lawyer.
Good.
Why are you laughing, dude?
I think you just said you're the 0.25.
You're like,
Well,
I just got a
whatever.
quarter of a lawyer.
You're like you're quarter responsible. Come on, like you deserve me.
Did we let Steve know he's out of a job yet? Because we have to spend our money now on lawyers.
Yeah, dude.
So
I'm sure this is going to help the insurance premium, right?
Thank you to our
Yeah.
thank you to
We
our
have
sponsors.
insurance?
Thank you to
Yeah.
our sponsors.
No, I don't know if we have insurance or not. Kevin usually insures pretty heavy, but
Well, I have to look into that.
we have to look into that.
Steve,
So for those tuning in, this should actually boost our post live numbers because
Yeah.
you guys just talked about the whole lawsuit, the Speros lawsuit,
true.
but we weren't live for it.
Ooh,
So everyone tune in, check it out later on Apple Pod, Spotify to hear all about
now is the
the
time.
LOCPOD
Yeah, you
lawsuit.
definitely want to.
Now is the time to be a subscriber online. right?
So
sure.
for the people that missed that whole first bit, it was probably the best bit we ever did on LOCPOD. I think it was the best. I mean, there was people crying. I mean, Kevin's staff walks by. They're just like, "You're killing me."
Tears. Yeah.
Tears rolling down my face.
Probably because they were getting sued as well.
Yeah, right. Smith Sursick. We do
No.
have the dream team representing us though.
We're-
But besides me representing Vesmar, I'm not part of the dream team. And Vesmar doesn't need the
Fantastic.
dream team. Let's be honest, right?
No, I don't
You might,
think so.
John.
We'll find
No,
out. I
wait till your
guess.
deposition.
God, we got sued.
What is there to dep? Because everything is online. Like the
Yeah.
whole episode is available on like 24 different platforms just out there.
Season 4, episode 24.
Check it out.
I would direct you towards season 4. And by the way, that was a hilarious episode. I've listened to it a couple times. There was a lot of laughter in the studio that day. Because
A lot of laugh-
Kevin
there's a
would
lot of
ask me,
laughter
we did
anyway.
it. Kevin asked me a question, and then I would answer like we were in a dep, and I kept just
Oh, I
screwing
remember
everything up.
that.
You remember that one?
I do.
And Kevin's like, you can't say that. I'm like, holy crap, we're in trouble, right?
It was hilarious.
Yeah, I think that's going to be Exhibit A in his lawsuit.
Season 4.
The only
episode.
exhibit.
The only this is it. But by the way, I didn't defame him, and this honestly, the reason we're being lighthearted about this is because I feel very, very secure in knowing this is when you're in the public sector, like Speros was, and you're in charge of spending millions of dollars of taxpayer money, which Speros did, and when you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars in salary from taxpayer money, about $250 salary plus $50,000 in benefits, car insurance, everything. Speros is making $300,000 of taxpayer money, mostly generated from my city, and he uses it as a weapon to make people be loyal to him, and if they're not, he will freeze you out of that money. So I have every right in the world as the mayor of the largest city in Northwest Indiana, the largest city in Northern Indiana outside of Fort Wayne and South Bend. I have a responsibility to protect my taxpayers and to point to waste, fraud, and abuse. And Speros was a perfect example of waste, fraud, and abuse. And I never said anything unprofessional. I never said anything, about a public figure that's over the line. I pointed out facts, and he doesn't like it because I challenged him.
Well, I mean, think about if you, as mayor, were able to sue everybody who said you're a fraud, you're doing something illegal,
Let's go there.
you're doing this,
Let's
you're
go
doing
there.
that.
Let's go there.
I mean, think about that.
Let's go there.
How many
What's that?
people?
It's like he's trying to intimidate people like me, who my responsibility is to point to waste, fraud, and abuse. And he's trying to, and by the way, I have a First Amendment right as well as an American to be able to say what I want about government, which the South Shore Convention and Visitors Bureau is government, guys. It spends millions of dollars of taxpayer money every year. That's government, okay? And the people that work there, especially the CEO, are fair game because they're public figures. And I spoke about a public figure, and I say things that I feel about a public figure, and he doesn't like it. So he's trying to intimidate me by filing a lawsuit against us to prevent me from expressing my First Amendment rights. What's that called?
That sounds like you're more than a quarter of a lawyer.
Thank you. But so there's lawsuits, retaliatory. I mean,
It's
they're
called
called.
Anti-SLAPP.
What's SLAPP stand for?
I forget what it stands for. I should probably know that, but it's basically that says that if
Speech limiting.
maybe you
Speech
look
limiting.
at you with your acronyms.
I'm military. I'm good at
Yeah.
acronyms. Speech limiting.
Somebody
So
like
act-
Marissa will tell us
Asshole.
or something.
Yeah.
on the- on
No,
the-
I don't
on
think
the-
assholes in there. Yeah. It's speech limiting. But what the purpose of an anti-SLAPP lawsuit is what
John
we're
hears the
talking
letter
about.
A, he thinks asshole.
So
But-
the purpose of an anti-SLAPP lawsuit is to
It's to basically it's a kind of a weapon to counter when someone sues you over your First Amendment rights.
right.
And says
He's
like,
trying to intimidate me. So let's change the scenario here. Let's say as mayor, I have a critic in Hammond that's constantly banging on me, constantly bringing up facts about the city and making me look bad. Okay, and there's smart residents in the city of Hammond, and they follow the issues closely, and they show up every council meeting, and they point out all my flaws, and they show up at Mayor's Night Out, and they point out my flaws, and they're getting quoted in the paper, and they're constantly banging on me, and I don't like it, right? And let's say that my effort to silence this person is to sue him and say, you're defaming me. And if I say to my citizen, you're defaming me, that's going to scare the hell out of the citizen, because the citizen then has to go out and get a lawyer and defend themselves in this lawsuit. And they're like, hey, man, I'm never going to say anything about the mayor again, because when you do, you get sued. But that citizen can file an anti-SLAPP lawsuit against me, right, Kevin?
That's correct.
Because what I'm trying to do as mayor in that case is intimidate that citizen from filing from you exercising their First Amendment right, and then they can now sue me on an anti-SLAPP lawsuit because it's intimidation from a government official.
Yeah, I've actually represented gentleman and was successful in doing an anti-SLAPP lawsuit.
You got a verdict in it.
We did.
Right.
We did. We got a judgment. Yep.
So a judgment, excuse me. Yeah. So in this, because the verdict is, but so in this case, do we plan on filing some type of countersuit against Speros because he's trying to intimidate me from exercising my First Amendment rights? By the way.
I think it's definitely a discussion that should be had with your lawyers.
I definitely want to file an anti-SLAPP lawsuit against Speros Batistatos because him as a public figure, which he was, didn't like the fact that I was pointing out facts about his salary, about his lavish spending habits, about how much money was being wasted. He didn't like it. So in order to shut me up, he files this lawsuit that we're talking about right now against me to intimidate me, to shut me up. So I won't say anything else. Bad move, Speros, because that's against the law, what you just did to me, and we're filing. And as far as I'm concerned, unless I get talked out of it by our lawyers, I think we definitely need to file an anti-SLAPP lawsuit against Speros.
Yeah, I mean, I think interestingly enough, this is going to be one of those things. Oh, boy.
There you go.
Breaking news on LOCPOD. LOCPOD gets sued, and Mayor Tom will countersue.
That's right, we will.
You heard it here first.
That's right. Anti-SLAPP. We're slapping back.
I'm glad we
Slapping
can have
back.
a little fun with it.
Yes, I mean
It looks like a fever
I mean,
dream.
at the end of the day, it's a serious matter, and it needs to be defended. And I believe
It needs to be
that
defended.
And I believe it's important. Just as I'm sure the South Shore Convention and Visitors Bureau, Andy Quinnell, Matt Maloney, Tom Daberton, and Matt Schuford, who all got sued as well, I'm sure they'll be defending themselves as well.
The funny thing about this is, by the way, keep in mind now, before Speros was let go by the board of directors, I was in a lawsuit with the South Shore Convention and Visitors Bureau for a couple of years, Kevin.
Yeah, I was one of the lawyers in it, sure.
But
absolutely.
it was a couple of years.
It was over the thing you had discussed earlier.
Right, but it was extended on for a couple of years.
Yeah,
at that point,
I don't remember.
right?
Yeah, it was definitely over a year for sure.
It was. I bet you it was closer.
You're
to a
better
couple.
at remembering
So
time like that.
it was a long period of time. We spent
sure.
a lot of money. We litigated it for a long time. We were talking about special legislation that dragged on forever. Right. So
forgot about that
while
part,
we're in extended litigation with the Convention and Visitors Bureau, and all these people that Kevin just mentioned, Mr. Daberton, Mr. Quinnell, Mr. Schufer, all these people that Kevin just mentioned, I'm literally in a lawsuit involved with all of them, right? And allegedly, according to Speros' complaint, during this period of litigation between us, where we're at war for a couple years, spending large sums of money in a lawsuit against each other, allegedly, according to Speros, I'm secretly negotiating with Andy Quinnell and all these people who I'm in a lawsuit with to get Speros fired. It's completely paranoid.
That's why I think it's going to be interesting to discover to see how these depositions go, because I'm curious as well.
I already took my deposition.
Yeah, that's right.
Season 4, episode 24. Just go there.
I mean, it's just interesting to see the thought process in the complaint versus, I think, what the discovery is going to show. So I'm looking forward to getting to that point.
Speros Batistatos going back for taxpayer money one more time.
Versus LOCPOD.
And yeah.
And
That's a
many
lot
others.
of people in that law. He might as well have just said, I'm suing, like, all of Lake County.
Yeah. Just please give me a couple bucks.
I'm suing all of you.
We will not settle this case. We will not settle this case. This case will be dismissed on motion, or it'll go to jury trial, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm looking forward to getting the defenses out there and litigating it.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Well, that's
LOCPOD gets sued. I think that means we made it.
I think we've made
We made it.
So
We've been
glad
sued.
we made it.
John.
Thank God.
We should have like celebratory music, right? Not sad music. All right, let's do some ads. Come back. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about in the campaign.
ton.
Really cool stuff happened this week. An unbelievable
Todd Young visited the
article.
region.
Todd Young tried to get some region credit. Like epic fail. We're going to talk about that.
He looks like
And
a psychopath.
It was it looked like a guy that's really freaked out. So
He is freaked out.
We're going to get to that.
We got a poll back in my
Yes,
campaign,
yes.
and we released it, which means
Yes.
it turned out better than we hoped. Because I tell you what, if that poll comes back and I'm losing by double digits, I spike it and we act like it never happened.
I think we're
Let's be
doing
honest.
okay.
I think we're doing okay. That's the campaign
All right,
theme.
let's do some ads. Come back. We got a lot to talk about the campaign and some other stuff.
All right, let's go.
All right.
Prestmer Insurance Agency. The Ron Prestmer Insurance Agency has been located for decades right on Indianapolis Boulevard in the beautiful, gorgeous, well-run city of Hammond, Indiana, serving all your insurance needs. They specialize in a wide variety of insurance products and services, including auto, home, business, life, and much more. The Prestmer, in fact, they even help us with Festival of the Lakes acts. That's how much they do. They do it all. Right?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely help.
The Prestmer Agency serves over 1,000 people and businesses all around the Chicagoland and Midwest market. Call Ron, Ronnie, or Michael at 219-844-0103.
Yeah, good guys. Jill.
Oh.
You're up.
You okay, Tom?
Yeah.
Okay. I still had the camera on you, and I was like, man,
Oh,
does
really?
does he have a headache? What is
No. I
crying.
was just like, yeah.
crying?
I didn't know the TV
That
was
lawsuit.
on. Yeah. It's just the stress of this lawsuit is really eating me up.
You should talk to Cantrell and Cantrell, attorneys at law.
Johnny Law. I want Kristen to represent me.
She's a phenomenal
I'm with
guy.
you.
I'm already representing Vesmar.
Who's the .25 in that firm?
It's like
We know.
We
It's
know.
like
We
that,
absolutely
This is
know.
their commercial. We're not going there.
it's like that Spider-Man meme where they're all pointing at each other.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, Cantrell and Cantrell, attorneys at law. Are you injured or in trouble with the law? Who isn't at this point, honestly?
I am in
LOCPOD
trouble with
is.
the law right now, so I'm going to. But they specialize in criminal though, right?
Yes, they do.
And they do personal injury.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
I'm not injured
That's good.
or in trouble with
Yeah.
the law, thankfully.
Give them a call and schedule your consultation today with somebody who is in court and at the jail every single day. Call John Cantrell at 219-554-4LAW or visit their website at bettercallcantrell.com. John and his wife, Kristen, make a great team and are waiting to hear from you.
Tortillas Nuevo Leon. Tortillas Nuevo Leon is the gold standard in Mexican cuisine throughout the Midwest. Look for Tortillas Nuevo Leon's popular red and white label at your local grocery store and enjoy quality Mexican products made with local expertise. Eli.
Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia de todo corazón. Tortillas Nuevo León, hechas con amor, para ti y tu familia.
Yeah!
De todo corazón.
Try Electronics. Try Electronics wants to be your complete communications provider. Try Electronics has been a leader in this industry for more than 55 years. We are dedicated to assisting our clients with their system integration needs. Try Electronics has the expertise and experience to provide superior results for a wide variety of projects. For more information, call Try Electronics today at 1-800-722-6793. Thank you, Try Electronics, for being a sponsor on LOCPOD.
And thank you to our sponsors. We're back with part 2.
I like
of
your
the
shirt.
pod. Thank you.
It's a nice one, man. I'm jealous of that one.
It's really cool. I got it at the bookstore.
Oh, yeah. You could have picked one up for your buddy Tom.
I figured you already had it or
You know,
something,
honestly,
so
I didn't
it's
know
more
if you
of
knew this. I'm running for U.S. Senate in the state of Indiana. That would have been a good one
a-
for me.
Yeah, well, maybe you'll get in your Christmas.
Selfish.
in
Selfish.
Was Christmas a good time to give this to you?
Yeah, the short sleeve T-shirt would be great in December. Thank you.
After the election.
Yeah, after the election. Yeah.
But thank you. And by the way, all right, so let's just get to this real quick before
Let's
we
get to this. It's Notre Dame opening weekend.
In Columbus at
It's
the
hard-
Horseshoe
This is the hardest
opener
opening week.
that I can think of.
It goes. I've been watching Notre Dame for 30 years. I think the last time we had an opener this challenging was at home. We played Nebraska. It was like 2000.
Ooh, I remember that. I know exactly where I was.
Overtime.
field goal.
We
I was
lost in overtime.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was in I know
It
exactly
was
where I was.
in Nebraska at that time. It was like 1 or 2. They were ranked very high. That was back when Nebraska football was just the cream of the crop.
I was sitting in a parking lot at a Crate and Barrel, because I didn't want to go into the store.
I was already out of school. I think that was 2001.
Wow,
Yeah.
was it that
So anyway,
long ago?
Notre Dame is playing at Ohio State, which is incredibly challenging. They're 17-point dogs.
I was just going to say they're 17-point dogs.
I don't think I've ever seen Notre Dame
I am-
17-point dogs.
I am betting Notre Dame.
Yeah, with the 17.
Absolutely.
And the over or the under? Over, last time I checked, it was
59.
is it? If you're betting Notre Dame, then you have to bet
gotta
the
bet
over.
the under.
You have to bet the over.
Well, I'm guessing it's going to be a tight game. Like
Oh.
the defense is going to come to play.
Really?
It's gonna be like
I thought you
keep
meant
it-
you thought Notre Dame was going to.
I don't think Notre Dame's going to lose 63-53.
Keep
I
in
think
mind,
it's going to be like.
keep in mind that opening week in college football is very unpredictable.
Agreed. That's why I
Like,
couldn't believe a 17-point line.
I agree. I think Notre Dame's going to put points up. And by the way, Notre Dame's new quarterback. I mean, he's not a new quarterback. He took significant amount of snaps last year. What's the kid's name? Buckner.
Yeah, I'm interested to see the receiving core and how they perform because it's a young group. So
I think Notre Dame's going to be offense is going to be a pleasant surprise. Their defense is going to be great.
Their defense is absolutely great. That's what I'm saying. 17. I mean, like I just don't see.
You might be right on the under, bud.
Well,
I like it.
I'm
okay,
thinking.
I'm betting Notre Dame plus the 17 and the under.
All right, I'm with you.
I'm going to put $100 on it, and we're going to come back next Tuesday and talk about it. Okay?
And you're gonna be like, I told you I was gonna bet the over.
If it's over, you're freaking screwed, bud. I like that bet. I think that's a good bet.
That's it.
And something like that, it'll turn you back like $380 back, something like that. It's usually like in the area, but you have to hit them both.
I'm gonna bet like $10 on it. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
whoa.
They can't hear that.
All right.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you.
Yeah.
I had to
John
refresh
Blasser.
the pages because the internet.
Because we're
crashed,
talking
so.
too
Yeah.
much.
No,
Okay.
no.
Let's get into that though.
Yeah.
Todd Young is feeling the heat. You know, we haven't talked about the poll results yet. We're going to talk about the poll results. Almost like this story should follow that, but we don't need to do it that way.
It's too much fun.
Like when you want to find out whether or not Todd Young's starting to feel the heat and get nervous, you look at silly ass videos that he's putting up right now. He's trying to in this video. This is what's going on. People are talking to Todd and they're saying, Todd, your videos are boring. You need to act way more like a human being. And it's hard for you, Todd, because you're not a human being. You're a freaking robot for the GOP, right? So when you go out there, I want you to use your hands. I want you to have a little bit of emotion in your voice. Todd, you need to act more like a regular Hoosier, a regular human being. We know it's difficult for you.
So that's like the pep talk before.
That's the pep talk.
Like before, like
human being, Todd.
hit play.
No robot. Human being. That's what they're telling him, right? So Todd's like, okay, be a human being. Be a human being. And this is what we get. Instead of human being, he goes way over the top, like Better Call Saul, used car salesman, right? He gave it a little bit too much. So this is Todd after getting the pep talk from the campaign team.
To talk about this video.
Okay,
all right, here we go.
We're here in the region today. Look at this gas. Look at this price. It was $2.38 a gallon when President Biden came into office. This is a policy decision. This is a tax on working class Hoosiers, and I'm going to fight against the policies that led to this. Vote Republican.
Okay, a couple problems.
Whoa.
Okay, so a couple problems.
Aggressive.
Very aggressive.
Very
He's
aggressive.
like pointing at the camera. He's like herky jerky.
He was like up on his toes.
This is the kind of stuff you see on used car commercials. So for those of you that are listening on streaming, this is the one like right now, you know, sale and this is the kind of herky jerky. So he took the pep speech and he went a little too far, in my opinion.
Yeah. Here's a little meme we did of
Whoa,
him
what
as
are
a
you
used car salesman.
I'm hearing this is the actual video.
All right, let's hear it. Let's see it.
Like they green screened the gas station one. This is
So
the
hold
real
on. So
one.
before you do it, for those of you that are listening, we replaced the gas sign that he was pointing to, and we replaced it with a used car lot in the background. But Todd is superimposed in front of the used car lot. So let's listen to this one.
Look at this price. Look at this price.
I would
See?
buy that car. I'm gonna
He
be
is
honest. I'm
a
gonna hear
complete-
Look at this price. Look at this price.
He's so like over the top, and so okay,
John, did we post that? Because I want to tweet that.
that. I don't know.
it's
if
coming
it was
out.
posted.
I want to tweet that
Okay.
today. Could you give that to me?
Yep.
That's going to
You
go
have it?
viral.
So
I do
great.
have it.
You do. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So I would just want to from a region standpoint, and as a regionite,
'Cause
and
there's
as
a couple
as a region
mistakes.
rat. Okay,
First off, he made 2 mistakes that I could see.
huge mistakes.
Right. What are they?
Number one, he misspelled Maryville.
He spelled it Maryville.
Maryville.
this
Maryville.
Look at this.
Okay.
Did
so,
he misspell it, or
lying.
is that on purpose?
Oh,
I don't
if
know.
that's even
if
worse.
If it was on
right?
purpose, yeah, he deserves to be in.
Is
So-
it vile?
He misspelled Maryville. That is like
If you're going to be in the region, at least spell
don't
the
f up
goddamn.
somebody's
Right, you're spelling the names wrong, you idiot. Right?
Merrill Vile.
Maryville.
Thank you to
So-
those people in Maryville.
Yeah, Maryville. And secondly, you're in Hobart, you idiot. You're in Hobart there, you freaking U.S. Senator idiot. Like, you're like...
The region cred is like, it's like you have no region cred. And by the way, I want to thank the regionite who like had his muffler going really well during the background of that. Like that's so region anyway, right? Like right through the background. I loved it.
Yeah, Todd is
Like,
desperate.
It's so bizarre. And then John, how about the ending when he's like,
Vote Republican! Like,
then he, like-
voting right at the screen.
but John, right? Like he right, exactly. And then he comes back. Like, wasn't that cool?
It's almost like they should have stopped the video like 1 second before they did.
Because that I didn't like the last part either. It's like
that again, John.
a little over the top.
right there.
Oh yeah.
Against the policies that led to this. Vote Republican.
and he's pointing right at the screen.
And then he like steps back. Like, wasn't that cool?
Like,
He's
was,
like-
was I human?
Was I acting like a human? Not a robot, right?
It's like they're all clapping for him.
He needs a
Good
high
job,
five.
human being. Good job. You
High
look just
five,
like
man. High
Right.
five.
You did just like a human being did, Todd. Good job.
That was good, right?
Yeah.
Is he wearing lips?
Did I act like a Hoosier? Did I act normal? Yeah. Good job, Senator. You acted just like a human being, just like we wanted you to. An excited, drug addict human being, but nonetheless.
Well,
Ooh,
this was
disclaimer.
it was just interesting.
Yeah. Oh man, insurance premiums going up.
It was just it was interesting, right? That this all of a sudden his like socials got a little active after there was a story in the Indy Star about your poll.
Yeah.
And why don't you talk about that a little bit? That you polled, the campaign polled, and the results came back.
So honestly, about 2 weeks ago, I don't like polls. I really, and Kevin's looking at me funny because I just don't. I mean, I don't know if. Let me ask you a question, Jill.
Mm-hmm.
When you get a phone number that you don't recognize, do
Don't
you answer it?
Nope.
Thank you,
And
John.
block. And I block.
No.
it.
John, how about landlines? You guys got landlines?
Don't have one.
No.
Because back in the day, let's say 10, 12, 15 years ago, we could call your house phone. And sometimes people would pick it up, and we get accurate poll results from a person we know lives at that location. Because you have, like, in Hammond, you would have the 219-844 or whatever, right? And if you had 219 and 844, you're obviously a Hammond resident. That's how phones used to work. Now with cell phones, you don't know.
Hessville, actually, right?
Right. Well, no. I mean, Woodmore had it too, but nonetheless, nobody really cares because we have a
Interesting.
countrywide audience.
Wow.
So, but what I'm saying is,
So that's Woodmore.
our nationwide audience, 844.
International.
Yeah, all right,
Right.
I got you.
Yeah, people over there in Belgium right now are like, what's Hessville? So what I'm saying is we would know that you're in a
Fair
geographic area, and we'd get accurate poll results. Like, because Jill, when you would answer, we'd be like, okay, she's in Robertsdale, so we got that check mark done. She's a woman, we got that check mark done. She's this age, we got that check mark done. Nowadays, when you call a cell phone, if you get through, you have no clue if that person lives in this district or where they live. So it throws off the poll results. And not only that, keep in mind in 2016 when Donald Trump won and surprised, let's be 90% of America, John says he was one of the few, and I believe him, okay? But most of America was fooled because all the poll results showed Hillary Clinton up by 10 points. So how does Hillary Clinton win? Because people lie to pollsters.
This is what I would say, though, about polls. I think that since that time, since 2016, I think pollsters have gotten better.
Well, they had to.
Right.
It was broken.
At adjusting to the new era of polls. And for a long time, I was like, man, these, internet polls, this, that. But I have to tell you, number one, as far as I've been involved in them since the 2016 race, right? So that would mean your race in 2019, your race in 2020, the internet polls that we've done, and the ones that are online. I think those have now replaced the reliability of the phone call to the house. And I think I actually like them now. I like the internet polls. I think they come to your phone.
I've taken a few already this
Sure,
year.
they've come in. I've had one from Congressman Mervan come through to me and things like that. So, I really believe that now the pollsters have figured out how to get good results, and that's why the margin of error in your poll was 3%. It was under 3%, 2.6%.
Like, how much stuff do we do on the internet? Like, I pay my bills on the internet. I trade stocks on the internet. I do BMV transactions on the internet. We can't vote because voting, the internet is unreliable allegedly. But we do so much on the internet now.
That's how people live. That's how they communicate. Just like they used to sit around and wait for their phone to ring at home. Now they have their cell phone, and that's where the polls come. And so I'm comfortable with them now. I really am, and I think that pollsters on the internet are doing a great job in getting results, getting reliable results.
So anyway, I'm skeptical of polls. Kevin and Zach feel better about polls than I did, and we all had a meeting about
Should we do
3
a
weeks
poll?
ago about, hey, listen, I feel like, honestly, we were catching momentum. I was like, listen, you can see the donations are picking up. My crowds are getting bigger. People are volunteering more. I felt like we were on fire, and I actually broached it with you guys. I think we should do a poll, and I think you guys were pleasantly surprised.
We were very happy to hear that from you.
And it's significant investment.
Because number one, they're not cheap, and
Right.
number two, you don't just do a poll without talking to the candidate.
But our rule was this. I mean, full disclosure. If this poll result is bad, we're not saying a damn word to anybody. If it comes down and I'm down 20 points, Jill, you would have never known we did a poll. I promise you. We would have spiked that, shredded it. We would have never talked about it again. I mean, that was our rule going in. Is like, if it's close, we'll talk about it. If it's not close, we're going to act like it never happened, right?
And I think it was like one of those things where we just wanted to know where you were. Like, let us know where you're at.
I had a feeling I was doing better. And keep in mind, I've been doing this for a year now, and I feel like in the last year we made a lot of progress. I've raised $1 million in the last year. Had thousands of people, tens of thousands of people donate to me in the last year. Drove 60,000 miles in multiple cars in the last year. So I feel like we made progress. So this, to me, it was just...
And we also wanted to see, like, you know, is the Dobbs decision one of those issues that is really going to impact the election?
And
the answer, I think, is yes.
So the poll came back. You want to describe it?
Sure, yeah. So the poll was a online poll that was done with over 2,100 respondents, Hoosiers, right, that were likely to vote. Some of the things I thought that were really interesting about the poll that I was just like, wow, this is so interesting, right? And that is, here's a couple of them, right? One of them is, who did you vote for in the 2020 election? So out of 2,100 people, 53% of those that responded to the poll said they voted for Donald Trump. 40% said they voted for Joe Biden. So that's about right as far as
Joe Biden lost by 13.
I think like 10 or 11 or something like that, right? So
in Indiana?
Sure. So in this poll, Donald Trump was up 13% of the voters that responded to the poll.
Right. So these same people are getting polled 2 years later to see how they're going to vote in the Senate race.
Right. And so another thing that I thought was interesting about it was that they say, like, do you think of this person favorably or unfavorably, right? So Donald Trump in your poll had a 28% very favorable rating and a 16% somewhat favorable rating. So that's 44% favorable. He had a 49% unfavorable. Todd Young, 26% favorable. He had a 7% very and a 19% somewhat, and he was unfavorable.
That's 26 all day.
26 versus
and
Donald Trump
was
44.
So he's 18 points below Donald Trump.
Down below president. And total unfavorables, Donald Trump was 49, Todd Young was 46.
So let me ask you a question. Does that surprise you?
It did surprise me.
It does not surprise me.
It surprised me that, number one, we were able to get a poll with that many people that supported Donald Trump in Indiana. And then, by the way, you were only down 3 points to Todd Young, 45-42.
That was But right? First off, I have really, and I'm not going to say I've never run across a Todd Young supporter since I started campaigning, but I've talked to tens of thousands of people.
Yep.
Okay? Shaking hands with tens of thousands of people. And I've never seen a Democrat support Todd Young. I can tell you that. That's one thing I could tell you is I think the party is united behind my campaign. Okay? For what it's worth.
For sure.
Okay? Now, even Republicans, I'll meet my Trump supporters out, the Trump supporters on the campaign trail, and they're hardcore about Donald Trump. They don't necessarily like me, but they don't like Todd Young either. And then the people that seem like they should support Todd Young, like the Eric Holcomb faction of the party, they don't really like him either. It's weird.
And you wonder, so then the question becomes like, okay, are they going to vote for Tom McDermott, or maybe they just sit that one out? I mean,
or they vote
libertarian. So the other thing that I thought was interesting, because we were curious about the abortion issue, right? And so they asked these 2,100 people, thinking about the November election, will you support candidates who support abortion rights? Abortion is unlikely to impact my vote choice. Candidates who want to restrict abortion. So 49% of the respondents said they will support candidates who support abortion rights. Only 25% said they will support candidates who want to restrict abortion, and 26% said abortion is unlikely to impact my vote choice. So that basically means I'm not a one-issue voter,
right.
And that doesn't mean that you're not getting half or more of those votes. So you're already at 50% as the 100% pro-woman, pro-choice, according to this poll, which, I mean, it's just really interesting.
So, and you sort of skimmed over the good news for our campaign was if the election were held today, before we started messaging. Okay?
Yes. That's important to say that.
I'm only down before we started messaging, and I'll explain that in a second. So if the election were held today, these 2,100 respondents were asked, who would you vote for, Todd Young or Tom McDermott for U.S. Senate? 45% said they'd vote for Todd Young. 42% said they'd vote for Tom McDermott, which is within the margin of error.
And 11% were undecided, which is a big undecided, which I think is also good for you. I think that's good.
I tell you what, this doesn't reflect, though. This doesn't reflect, the young women that don't usually participate in the electoral process, that are pissed off about losing their reproductive freedoms, that are going to show up on November 8th and vote against people that took away those freedoms for them. I mean, they don't count that. And there's going to be a significant percentage of first-time voters in November 8th, 2022's election.
I was just going to say that registrations are up.
And I feel like I'm going to get 2/3 of those new votes.
Agree.
Because I'm pro-choice. Not because I'm an amazing candidate. Because I'm pro-choice, and Todd Young took away your reproductive rights with 3 appointments to the Supreme Court, all 3 of whom voted to overturn Roe versus Wade. So when women and new voters realize that Todd Young has his fingerprints all over the weapon that took away their reproductive freedoms, they're going to vote against you, Todd, and there's nothing you could do about it.
Wasn't this interesting how, like, their they got, the Todd Young campaign got to comment on the poll.
Yeah.
And they were just like, oh, the methodology is bad. You need a Gallup poll. This is all a dirty trick by the Democratic Party.
Well, Todd Young's polling right now.
Well, you know what?
He is polling. He is polling right now.
I guarantee you, Tom, they've been polling. And you know what? They had the same results we did. That's why they didn't release their...
First off,
why didn't you release your poll and
right.
say, I'm up 20 points?
So if you're Todd Young's campaign manager and McDermott's campaign comes out and says McDermott's only down 3 and you have proof that in your poll you're up 15, wouldn't you just drop your poll?
Without a doubt.
We just did a poll 2 weeks ago. And it says I'm up 15. Their poll sucks. I paid a lot more for my poll. My poll is more accurate than theirs, right?
We know what we're doing.
So instead, they say nothing. And they say your methodology is bad. But they've been polling this whole campaign. They know what the score
They have
is.
$6 million in the bank.
They know what the score is. And they know what's going on. And that's why Todd Young's acting like a lunatic now and doing these videos. Like a used car salesman.
We talked about the Indiana Progressives Twitter account. They had a couple of great ones.
I love
since
it.
the
This
poll.
is a great follow, by the way. Indiana Progressives is... They could do things I cannot do, which is great because I could look at them and I could laugh and I could love them, on Twitter.
What'd you think of this one, John?
I could retweet them, but I can't say the same things they say.
This is a great one. This is like Superman being like tracked by Aquaman in the background.
I don't even know that. Is that what that? I didn't know what that meant.
I don't think it's like those are the actors. I think.
I don't know.
It is. You're right.
Yeah.
It's
Is that what it is?
Henry Cavill and Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
Oh, Jason
It was
Momoa.
at a movie. I think maybe
It was like
Justice
at a premiere
League
or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just shows
Hello.
like him coming up behind him, right? Right in the,
Right.
the
Looks like he's gonna tackle him.
right.
what
The
happened.
tweet is
He did?
He didn't like fully tackle him, but yeah, they're
Oh, yeah?
friends.
and the tweet is the poll results, and then it's like you coming up on Todd Young.
I'm gonna
Who's
tackle
looking
him.
confident?
I'm
Yes.
gonna actually tackle him though. That's the difference. I'm gonna stomp
like that.
over the top and then keep running.
You got the other one, John? That's
That is a good one. So my campaign theme, for those of you that can't see this at home, my campaign theme, there's one of the themes of the campaign is the no bullshit tour. Tom McDermott's no bullshit. He's going to tell it to you
All
straight.
Hoosier,
All
no
Hoosier,
bullshit.
no bullshit.
Yes.
And I have a picture of me, I was standing on top of a building and I couldn't see because the sun was out and I didn't have my glasses on and I was squinting
Very
and I just
squinty
got like a military looking haircut, not on purpose. And when they took that picture and my tie was a little bit crooked and I was just a little bit like edgy looking. And the campaign loved it. They're like, this is a great picture of you. And I thought it was an outtake, basically. We thought it was a crappy picture. But for the no bullshit logo, it actually looked sort of like I was a badass.
well, like you were pissed off. About
Like I was
something.
pissed off. Like, I am sort of pissed off, I'll be honest with you. But generally a nice guy. But so they took that same logo and they put Todd Young's face on there and it says, Todd Young, all bullshit.
Credit to Indiana Progressives on that.
Indiana Progressives, great follow. So follow them at
Yes.
IND Progressives.
Well, that's interesting. I'm glad we got to talk about the poll, and congrats on a good number. And by the way, great article by the Indy Star on the poll. So,
Yeah, and I told you guys last week I had an Indy Star reporter follow me for 5 hours.
yeah, how'd that go?
We haven't talked about that since. What day was that? Was that Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Wow, we haven't talked about it.
You were on your way that day to.
So yeah, I had an Indy Star reporter, Caitlin Lang, and I was told, you're going to drive her around the city, you're going to show her things, and she's going to be with you for a couple hours. Right? It ended up being 5 hours. So I planned to take the Shelby, which is a great car, sort of impressive, no backseat. So when we get there, she comes walking in. I'm like, hey, Caitlin. And then there's another guy walks in. I'm Bob. And I'm like, hey, and this is Bob. I'm like, hey, Bob. And he's a photographer. I'm like, we got a problem. Because Bob's like 6'6".
He's a big guy.
Yeah. And I'm like, holy crap. I didn't know there was 3 and I got my Shelby. And, and Caitlin was like, don't worry about it. We can make it work. I'm like, all right. So we did it. We made it work. And so Bob was in the front seat with me and Caitlin was in the back seat. And the back seat is big enough for a toddler. And we made it work, though. And it was fun. Honestly, it was a 5-hour interview, and I was Mr. Charming that day.
Yeah.
And I could be charming when I want to be, and I thought it went super, super well. And I thought she was great, and Bob and I had a lot in common. He grew up in California, Southern California.
Yeah, he had a lot of questions about surfing and the lake.
We're like the same age. He grew up in California, went to high school there, and so we had a lot in common. I really liked him a lot. Well, I like Caitlin. I like both of them. I thought it was an excellent day, and then we ended up at a community meeting.
I was going to ask you about that because on Tuesday you mentioned, this community meeting. I'm gonna, I'm worried I'm going to get my ass kicked and blah blah blah.
So we show up to the community meeting on me shutting down the basketball at MLK Park, and there was probably 100 people there, and I have 2 Indy Star reporters with me. And that meeting couldn't have gone better. The neighbors were so appreciative of the moves that we made and like universal support for what we did. Everybody agreed it's too hot right now. I mean, it's hot like not temperature-wise. Like, the activity's too high right now, a little bit. The tempers are too high. We needed to cool things down. The neighborhood completely supported me. I was so happy.
I thought you made a point to ask, and I thought this was really smart of you as mayor to make a point to ask in the audience, is there anybody here that lives on the two streets that
900 to 1,000 block of Lyons or Highland?
I mean, I'm trying to talk to the world audience.
True
again,
story.
Right?
True
See,
story.
I'm trying
Good job.
the two streets that line the park.
Right.
Right.
Right near the courts.
Exactly. And
Right.
there was a young woman who stood up and she said, I live right across the park, Mayor. And you said, I really want to hear what you have to say. And she went on for a couple minutes about how she shouldn't have to feel unsafe in a beautiful park named after MLK that she lives across from. And she feels unsafe.
Yeah.
She was an incredible speaker.
Yeah.
Agreed.
There's a future for her in politics. Or
Yeah, she
something.
did great.
She was great.
She did great. That meeting, John, what did you think of the meeting?
I was surprised as well how well it went.
It was amazingly well.
When you said, I think you asked folks if they thought you did the right thing by closing the park. People were applauding.
Yeah.
It was.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I was completely stunned, actually, because then the reason I say that is it's not the neighbors want peaceful neighborhoods also, okay? But the reason I say that is the response on social media was so negative towards me. It was hundreds of shares, like thousands and thousands of people commenting, and it was universally condemning me.
Well, you know what? And it's those people that really don't have the, apparently the time or effort to come actually to a community meeting and try to like say something. They're just keyboard warriors that want to bitch and complain.
And a lot of people that were bitching and complaining don't even live in the city.
They don't even live in the city.
And
these
they
are
just... Yeah.
Yeah, and these are the people that live in the neighborhood, that live there every day, and that appreciate the fact. So I was walking back with Jeff Long from the meeting along the park, and a woman stopped us and said, hey, I just wanted to come and, number one, thank you for the meeting, and number two, tell you how much I love living near the park and how much I love this park. And she was all about what you had done, and the fact that she's like, I didn't realize how busy this park gets in the summer. I didn't realize how crazy that those basketball courts get in the summer. And she said, it's been great. It's been a refreshing break from that.
I agree. One of the biggest things I took from that is it seems like a lot of our problems are coming from cars and people that don't live near the courts.
Agreed.
And one of the things I think we're failing in the city is we're making it too easy to park close to there, and which means that more people in cars from 30, 40, 50 miles away could drive to MLK Park, park their car,
Cause trouble.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, a lot of our crime is imported. And, and I think that if we really crack down on parking and make it nearly impossible to park close to that park with your car, where it'll cut down on the number of people there, number of people that don't live adjacent to the park.
Yeah, we talked about even meters or
but like red curbs with quick tickets and tows. I think that's where we're heading. And then I just want to put this out there: if we will eventually reopen this, not in the near future. It's probably next spring, let's be honest, okay? Where we'll actually try this again, and we're going to implement safety maneuvers to try to prevent future outbreaks of violence like we had. And if there's another shooting on that court, I'm going to shut the whole thing down. I'm going to tear them out, and you'll never see them again. And I'm dead serious about that. And I have no problem. By the way, I'm going to be in the U.S. Senate, so this isn't going to be my thing. But my recommendation to the next Mayor Hammond is going to be give the kids one more chance on MLK basketball courts. And if they mess it up, tear them out, bulldoze it, never put them back up again. And that's fine. And I have no problem personally with that at all. I'm looking forward to it if they mess up. And I hope they don't.
Yeah, right. So, well, that was. I thought that was interesting. I look forward to seeing the article in the Star. So,
all right. And last thing we want to cover is another. So now, just to prove that I'm convinced that November 8th, 2022 is going to be in Indiana. We're going to have lines at the polls. We're going to have a tremendous number of new voters, many of whom are women and supporters of women like myself that want to see, they want to see consequences for the elected officials that took their reproductive rights. I want to see consequences. I want to see people like Todd Young lose his seat because what he did to my daughter, to my wife, and to all Hoosier women. I think Todd Young deserves to lose, and I'm not just talking about Todd. I'm talking about the state reps that voted to remove reproductive rights. I'm talking about the state senators that voted to remove reproductive rights, the congressional people that voted to remove reproductive rights. Anybody that doesn't support women's reproductive rights deserves to go down in flames on November 8th, 2022. And if you see long lines, we're on the right track. Now, I am very emboldened by what I see going on in the country right now, because what we had in Kansas stunned the world when Kansas voted to retain a woman's ability to have an abortion. And then we had a situation in New York with a special election where the Democrat surprisingly won that race based mostly on his choice position, right? And then there was one more before Alaska, wasn't there?
Well, I did see something in Arkansas that the supermajority wasn't able to get enough votes to get a referendum on the issue. So
and then, last but not least, you look over there in Alaska, where there's a special election, and Democrats in Alaska haven't held that congressional seat in over 5 decades. And Sarah Palin, the former vice presidential candidate of the United States, is running.
And
former governor of Alaska. She's a big name there. She's a national figure. Many people would assume Sarah Palin, a national Republican figure, former governor of Alaska, running against a Democrat who's never held, we haven't held.
She's been in the state legislature.
Right, but we haven't held this seat in 50 plus years.
Right.
Sarah Palin loses. Todd Young, you're next. Senator Young, you're going down on November 8th, and there's not much you could do about it because you did the dirty deed. You took away women's reproductive rights. They're not going to forget about it by November 8th. They're going to show up with their friends and their daughters and their mothers and their grandmothers, and they're voting against you because you appointed 3 people, you confirmed 3 people to the U.S. Supreme Court that voted to overturn Roe versus Wade. Todd Young, there will be consequences, and you will be one of those consequences. And I'm convinced women are going to carry me to the U.S. Senate, and I promise you this, I'm going to be a fighter for women. And I'm telling you right now, and I'm telling every woman I meet, you're going to be so proud of me, Jill. You're going to consider me an honorary woman when I get done with my first Senate term, okay? I'm telling you.
She already does.
I'm going to be a fighter. Hey, girl, right?
You go, girl.
I'm going to do so well. Hoosier Women Forward will probably bring me into one of their classes.
Wow.
Yeah. They're going to be
You're
excited.
going to be invited.
Hoosier Women Forward will be like, you're an honorary woman because of what you've done in the U.S. Senate to protect women's freedoms and women's reproductive rights.
I like it.
I'm looking forward to it.
I found this really interesting clip, John, of Sarah Palin that I thought would be fun to play.
Wow. Here we go. Oh, I got to refresh this.
All right, well, that would have been fun.
It's coming.
Well, no, it's coming. It's coming.
All right, here we go.
Where's this?
Here
we go.
Right-wing and bitter, clinging, proud clingers of our guns, our God, and our religions, and our...
What the?
Right-wing and bitter...
What is she
Let
wearing?
me hear that again. Did anyone? Okay.
What did she say?
Right-wing and bitter, clinging, proud clingers of our guns, our God, and our religions, and our...
Do they speak different language in Alaska?
Word salad, man. That's all I can say.
The
Word
holy
salad.
hell is that?
I don't know.
It's wow.
Yeah, it was interesting. I also found a video of her doing "Baby Got Back."
Oh, we gotta watch.
We got to watch this.
There's no wonder she lost. She was on Masked Singer.
What?
Whoa. I can't.
Wow.
I'm just stopping it.
There you have it.
It was
Hard to watch.
horrific, but not as bad as I was expecting.
She actually did not a bad job. I was just like, whoa.
Yeah. You'll never catch me singing on Masked Singer. I promise you, Indiana.
Just on LOCPOD?
You will never. I'll sing on LOCPOD. I don't
love it
mind
when you
singing,
sing.
but I'm not wearing a stupid bunny suit and singing on Masked Singer. I promise you.
All right. We're going to hold you to that. Wrap us up.
All right, let's wrap this up. Go Irish. Welcome back, football season. I'm so happy.
College football's
Yeah,
back. I'm excited.
college football is back. So anyway, I'm looking forward to Notre Dame keeping it close, hopefully pulling off a miracle against Ohio State, just like the Democratic Party is pulling off on November 8th, 2022. So give us some.
And you're not even down 17.
I'm
You're
not down
3,
17.
man.
I'm down 3. Yeah, I'm way
You're
closer.
down a field goal.
I have way better chance of winning than Notre Dame does this weekend. Let's be honest.
And by the way, I know you're going to be busy with Labor Day, and that's another big part of your campaign. I just want to not forget about our working men and women around the country.
Yeah, we'll be seeing you on Monday. I'm going to be in Fort Wayne, actually celebrating Labor Day. I got a couple stops this weekend. I'm doing Indy also, so
great.
Going to be a busy weekend. So see you on the road. Thanks for listening to LOCPOD, everybody. Jill, it's great to have you back. Good to see you again. Jay Vez, awesome job. Hey, we handled that internet outage pretty well. We still got our crowd way up, which is nice.
Yeah, that was
our live
awesome.
audience.
Thanks for coming back, audience.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you
for sticking with us.
For real. Thank you to the live audience. I mean, I enjoy the live audience. I really do. And it was sort of a bummer when you guys went away, and it's nice to see everybody came back. We appreciate you.
And John, thank you for being the producer extraordinary and getting us back up.
He pulled that off.
Yeah. Good
I
work.
remember back in the old days when we go off the internet.
Oh, Tom would have thrown the headphones down and
I
walked out.
used to get despondent. I'm
You're like, oh, what?
we're talking to nobody. But I know now, honestly, the difference is early on.
You're
Most
such
of
a
our
professional now.
Most of our audience was Facebook early on. Now Facebook is we have the live audience, but most of our audience now is streaming. So we have to still do the show, obviously.
Right.
Right. So
I'm so proud of you.
I think I've evolved as a podcaster. So
Growing.
I am growing. In the biz, that's what we do. Yeah. Kevin Smith, great job. And defend me well in my lawsuit against Speros. And Speros' lawsuit against me.
Will do.
In my anti-SLAPP back at him. Breaking news. And Jay Vez. This
Anti-SLAPP.
0.25% lawyer will represent you well, Jay Vez.
I'm excited.
Yeah. I always say when you see me representing you, something went wrong. So yeah. So I got you though, John. I'm gonna work day and night on your case.
Appreciate it. You're not busy at all right now.
No,
Appreciate it.
I'm totally focused on your lawsuit and protecting your interests.
Thank you.
Is your house in your own name?
0.25 of them.
0.2. I'm giving you a good 0.25. Is the house in your name? Because you should probably transfer it over, you know?
I'm writing that down right
Amy,
now.
Amy, take the house out of John's name.
I'm making notes.
Yeah, Speros is going to be living there. So, all right. Thanks, everybody, for listening to LOCPOD, Belgium's top-rated podcast. You know why it is now, don't you? So thanks for listening. We appreciate you, and we will see you on Tuesday. LOCPOD is out. Thanks, everybody.